right, y'all. So I'm about to re-listen to Dark Times by Vince Staples. On my first listen for the 500 albums challenge that I'm doing, I was on dum dum mode because I did not think to start notating my thoughts on the songs individually until a few albums after I listened to this. This was number 4. It was the 4th album that I listened to, and I'm gonna be honest, I've been so busy listening to Clairo and Cleo Sol and Sabrina Carpenter that I don't really remember the album that much. I remember I was really in love with it. I couldn't tell you very much about the individual songs. I could tell you my favorites though, but since I'm doing this huge ass challenge, I just want to get my thoughts down. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Because I'm very scared of copyright, I'm just gonna listen to everything, and then when each song finishes, I'm gonna let y'all know my thoughts because I'm not trying to get in trouble or whatever. Let's do it. What an intro for Close Your Eyes and Swing. Oh my god. If you read what is said in the intro with like the sounds in the background, hold on. What the fuck? Yep, Black and Blue, I put a star beside because that was one of my favorites. Ugh, I know why. That beat, I was bopping my head the whole time. There are some lines in this song that I really, really like. Infatuating with folklore. And then there's one where he talks about those who have passed, and I like the way that he said it. I spend a lot of time missing our kinfolk, put him inside of a rhyme hoping, why did it jump? Put him inside of a rhyme hoping they live on. So beautiful, so beautiful. Carrying on other people and how much they mean to us, and just carry them with us in the things that we do, and just spreading the message of loved ones like that is just, that is everything. That is legacy. And to put that into a song that's gonna last for a very, very, very long time, that lyric really hit me, so I really, really like that. I like the echoey chorus. That was really cool. Black and Blue is still one of my favorites, hands down. It's amazing. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I'm a production nerd because hearing Government Cheese and the beat the second time around, I instantly added it to my favorites. Just sick, just sick. That's not the only reason why I favorited the song. I'm gonna be real with you. Lately, the first verse of this song, right? I've been feeling that entire verse really heavy lately. Depression really came for me this past weekend, literally, and I've just been dealing with that these past few days, and so that almost made me emotional, not gonna lie, because I feel those lyrics. I've been dealing with that these past few days. So hearing the song again was like, shit, I'm right there with the song. The line that hit me though was "Don't lose your inner child." Out right there. All about to make me get real spiritual on y'all on this channel. Keeping your inner child happy is something, like when I talk about it out loud, it makes me really, really emotional, but keeping your inner child happy is something that I live by, and that's something that is at the top of the list for me. It's very important for me to nurture my inner child with and without the traumas and whatnot that's there. Just making sure that she's good, she's happy. If she's sad, I have to nurture that. I have to do what I can to lift that child up. If she's angry, girl, what's wrong? Like, Government Cheese, top of the list for me. Then we went straight into children's song. The song title got me. Like the laid back production on this one. That was really cool. I also really like when production is so laid back that when there's so many different sounds going on in the background, it's kind of nice to have that happening too, because listening to it, there's so much going on. And I love the guitar, of course. The guitar was really, really nice. And I can relate to this one too, because once I'm in the house, I'm in the house. I'm not leaving back out. I can relate to that. What's interesting to me too is with Government Cheese and then Children's Song, Vince is talking about some of the kind of sort of downsides of getting famous or whatever. And that's really interesting, especially in Children's Song when he's like talking about the things that he's been through, you know, growing up and whatnot. I know it's touched on the show, in his show, his Netflix show, which I really still enjoy. I know I mentioned before that I'm very into cinematic hip-hop albums, and when you put in that type of perspective into it, that's a part of what makes it kind of cinematic to me, is that you can get a feeling and a visual for the picture that's being painted for you and the lyrics. And I think it's just really nice to hear and to have that added on layer to it when it's very personalized, especially in hip-hop. He's not talking about the usual stuff that gets brought up in hip-hop and like repeated over and over again. He's bringing his experience, you know, being out on the streets to the album, and I cannot say enough that I really, really enjoy it. Shame on the Devil is one of my favorites. It's so good. Honestly, and excuse me if something like this has happened, but this really sounded like it would have been cool to have a J. Cole feature on it. Maybe an extended version with J. Cole, because I wouldn't want any sort of features to take away from what Vince was getting at in the song. It was so honest and introspective. Continuing on with that idea of him sharing his thoughts on fame, it's very honest to hear him be like, basically, things are not perfect and whatever, that's a given, but I'm here and I'm dealing with it, and this is what comes with what I'm going through, but also I want something more than this. And just the way that he expresses it, like his flow, just everything about the song is beautiful. The chorus is amazing. The way he ends the song with a prayer is just freaking out of this world. One of my favorites, that's it. It's such a good song. Just so good. I am definitely going to put the song title of this next one on the screen because I do not want to butcher it. Yo, I'm about to favorite this because the opening of the song, and then as you get into it, there's so much to unpack with this song. I wrote down in my notes perspective of the streets. Also wrote down qualms with the fans and how artists like to switch up when they blow up. There's in all honesty, just listen to the song. Just listen to the song. Vince really put himself in the song. He put a lot in this song. The storytelling is next fucking level. In the ghetto, I'm a Martian crash landing. It's literally a story. I can see the story. I can see it being played out in front of me as I'm listening to the song. And that's why I'm like, there's so much to unpack. I can't even put it into words, which is why I'm just like, just listen to the song, because it's just, I'm talking too fast and I need to calm down. Liars is very ouch. The beat on Justin is such a vibe. I love it so much. But again, the storytelling. I remember this song from my first listen because I was sitting here like, I can literally see a music video for the song, or like an episode to his show. What do y'all think about the song perspective wise? Do you think she was telling the truth? Do you think she was about to cheat on her boyfriend? Do you think Justin is actually her cousin? I want to know, because not gonna lie, I kind of felt like on my first listen, I thought he was being set up. I thought Vince was being set up at first. But it's like he wants to feel something and have some sort of connection with someone really, really badly. But at the same time, was he wrong to kind of feel a sense of distrust in that situation? In the previous songs in the album, he talked about having to lie a little bit to the people in his life because of how big he was getting. So, I don't know. What do y'all think about this one? I love open-ended things like this where story, and now what do you think? How do you finish it? It's really cool to me. I'm kind of embarrassed that I apparently forgot to star Radio on Apple Music, because I was like, why was this not favorited? I freaking love the song. I mentioned it in the music vlog video, but the second half of the song just goes off for me. I love that he had a conversation with a woman about why she doesn't really listen to hip hop like that. It's a really big thing lately that people have been saying that R&B music is not the same. And for him to go back and listen to that, like the oldies but goodies type of shit, to get a feel for her perspective, I love it. I love it. I love it when you just have that switch flipped and you're like, wait, actually, you're making a lot of sense. Let me try to see things from your side and your perspective. Perspective is everything, I'm telling you. The sample eats. The sample eats. I love how hard he went with the radio theme, with mentioning the radio stations at the start of the song to the ending of the song with the radio sounds and the DJ being like, yep, this is the radio station or whatever they said, and him requesting songs because the girl was like, hey, you gotta go. But then again, kind of sort of on radio. Was he pretending? I don't know. She introduced Vince to her boyfriend as her cousin Justin. Okay. Bear fucking with me if I'm late on this revelation. What the fuck? Can we please talk about it in the comments? Because keep it cool or whatever, of course, but what? The lyrics at the start of Nothing Matters are they're so good. Oh my god. I also really love in the chorus when he says nothing really matters at all. The piano after is all you really, well, at least for me, that's all I could really focus on because it felt quiet and it really sunk in. Him saying nothing matters, it sunk in with me because of how still that moment felt, if it makes sense. Like when people say the silence is so loud, that's what his words felt to me. Lauryn Hill, is that what's going on here? I think that's so cool. Lil Homies is my favorite. Oh my god. Life hard but I go harder. Amazing, incredible. I really liked Kilo on the bridge, but the lyrics in the song were so reflective and optimistic. Shit can be tough, but it'll be okay. You'll be fine. There's a tiny bit of love advice thrown in there, even though he mentions hey, it still sucks, but I'm kind of okay. But overall, I love the message of the song. Just love on yourself. You can do it. Whatever it is, go after your dreams, go after whatever you want. You got it. There is a shit ton of hope. This is gonna be one of my go-to healing songs coming out of this challenge. Free man's opening line, it feels good to be a free man with clenched hands. Wow. I'm very into, at this point in the album, Vince advocating for himself and being very vocal in what he wants, and him being like, I am not accepting anything less than what I deserve. It's a good feeling to get to that point where you can make those sort of moves for yourself. But I feel like he's still having trouble advocating for himself in that aspect of love. And I really want him to get there at this point in the album. I'm rooting for him to get there. And that message of him having that conversation with someone, talking about that industry respect that comes with winning awards and whatnot, I think that it's really nice to hear him say I mean, it's fine or whatever, but I don't need that to basically feel good about myself. There's so many good opening lines. I think creativity is the way we connect to our spirit. 1,000%. Y'all, this is probably one of my favorite lines in the whole journey that we've been on. I feel bad that it's not coming from Vince himself vocal wise, but the point still stands. It's a very powerful line. What I love about this as an outro is It sounds like a meditative experience on the surface, but when you really dig into what's being said, it's actually pretty fucking dark. It's not sunshine and rainbows like you would think with the instrumental going on. Underneath the monologue is the kind of sort of eerie "Why Won't the Sun Come Up" that's like creeping in the background. But it feels like you're stuck, and it feels like a lot of darkness, because it's just, where is the brightness? Where is that thing to just light everything up and illuminate things and make things feel better and like you're not trapped and stuck in a cycle? But that's why I think "Why Won't the Sun Come Up" is a awesome fucking closer to the album. As a whole, of course I love it. I think the time for me to be obsessed with this and play this over and over again is coming up. Like I mentioned at the start of the album, I've been dealing with some dark feelings myself. Is it bad that this feels comforting to me? I feel like I can resonate with the darkness of the album. I'm acknowledging that it's not good, but it feels like this cycle of darkness that keeps happening. And there's hope, of course, there's optimism, there's lightness every now and again, more often than not, you know, for me personally, which is what I'm trying to get back to. But it's just that cycle of everything's okay, and then fuck no, it's not. And I love the fact that he's very vulnerable with being on the streets and knowing what that's like, to love, to blowing up and dealing with everyone around him dealing with that. And he's very honest and upfront about everything that he's feeling and dealing with. And he, in that honesty, can advocate for himself when he needs to, and be a voice for not just himself but for others, as we've heard within the album with songs like Little Homies. Like, he's passing on advice. But it's just a cycle of waiting for things to get better, especially with love. When it comes to love, that's a big thing in the album. And with the traumas, it's him fighting with, does he trust anybody? And at the same time, he wants connection and he wants to feel that with someone. But at the same time, while these conversations with other people are happening within these songs, is he hearing them out and taking in their perspective to actually sit with it and to actually take it in? Or is it just him pretending for the sake of love? There's a guard there that I find to be very interesting, and that's why I really like his honesty and how upfront he is. But it's just that cycle of waiting for things to get better and just feeling like there's so much going on, like one thing on top of another. And this album is a journey. I feel like I legitimately watched a movie. That's how good it is. And I'm thinking I want to rewatch his Netflix show to just take this album and get further into that world, since I have a better understanding of him. But at the same time, I'm gonna wait. I think I want to go through his entire discography before I rewatch the show. We need more Black art on TV and in films like Atlanta and the Vince Staples Show, I swear. I'm gonna share my favorites on the screen because they have changed and updated since the last time I mentioned this album. I didn't take anything off of my favorites list, of course. It just grew, and I kind of figured, because this album is freaking amazing. And I'm so glad I listened to it. I'm really glad that I picked this as like the first hip-hop album that I checked out on my 500 albums challenge list. So yeah, Vince Staples is amazing, and I can't wait to add more of his stuff to this list. I was about to start going in on the spiritual aspect of this album because it's so strong, and just experiences like this are why I'm honestly doing this challenge and why I look forward to keep going with the challenge. I'm going to be adding more Vince Staples to my list sooner than later, hopefully, if I can get through more things. I feel like I'm probably going to be falling in that trap of re-listening to this one a lot instead of adding things and listening to new things. So don't be mad at me if that happens for a little while. I just really, really, really like this album a lot. Thank you for watching. I'll be back.